Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul Speak, where
So
we
speak.
speak. We speak rawly, authentically, unfiltered, unadulterated. That's us. So, welcome
Yeah.
back to another episode of Soul Speak. Today, we are going to be talking about self esteem. And let me say right now, I really think it's going to be a rant. But before I get into my rant today, I would like to present to you our podcast Instagram, which is Soul Speak _podcast on Instagram. And my podcast, really my podcast? Because Soul Speak pretty much is our podcast. My Instagram is the Sassy Rachel on Instagram. And I'll throw it over to you, Grace.
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hi.
You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at the underscore reading underscore hideout. I write kidlit children's picture books. So you can be able to find me there and everything that I do, keeping up to date with events, storytelling, new projects, new books, and all that jazz. You can also find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Grace underscore Kugrena. Find me, follow me, comment.
All of
And
that.
that's
Like,
it.
subscribe.
All of that. Exactly. Share.
So thank you so much for that. Hello, everyone, again. And today we talking about self-esteem. We're just gonna go ahead and jump right into it because I have a how would I say many things in life. I would say I have a I don't know if it's called a chip on the shoulder. Forget trying to describe it right now, but self-esteem. The
Mhm.
definition, because I like starting off with something solid and concrete up in this piece.
Hit
Self
us.
esteem is the confidence in one's own worth and abilities and self respect. So that is per Google. I don't know what site on Google, but per Google, and that fit.
Please repeat that again, please.
Self esteem, the confidence in one's own worth and abilities and self respect. Do you
Damn.
have
That's
any objections, Grace?
I don't have any objections. Look at me coming in strong. I don't have any objections. But the one thing that I would say is I feel that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's okay to have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. I
Mm,
feel like it's a bit of motivation, you know? I feel
mm,
like the greatest people that we've seen in history have had a chip on their shoulder,
mm,
right?
mm,
This idea or need or desire to achieve, to be great, right?
mm-hmm.
I think that comes from having a chip on your shoulder because you think like I need to be more than what I am. That doesn't mean having a chip on your shoulder consistently about everything is great. But I'm saying
Mm.
just having a little bit of that, I think it's beneficial. Also, it reminds me of what a comedian said, which cracked me up. I'm sure everybody knows this comedian. Like I think it was Kevin on stage. He's
Mm-hmm.
online, and he
Mm-hmm.
was talking
Yeah, I
about
know him.
how a lot of these successful people either had a really horrible dad or they didn't have a
Oh.
dad at all,
Oh
and they use that
wow.
as motivation, right? Of
Wow.
becoming successful. So, example, you either get yourself a Joe Jackson, who is the, you know,
Whoop that
taskmaster,
ass.
and
Yeah.
yeah, well, that has to success, Rachel.
Damn.
um, or you get someone, I don't know who he named, but someone like LeBron James. You have
Mm.
no father around. You don't have a father
Mm-hmm.
figure, right? Or you for another Joe Jackson, you get someone like Beyonce who has a Matthew Knowles, who is a taskmaster, right? These are
Mm.
not great people in terms of personality and all that stuff, but they're the right people in pushing you to where it is you need to be, right? Or they see your
Mm.
greatness or whatever, right? And then there's people who just don't have that father figure and they have this need and drive to prove a point. And what he was saying was, You abandoned me, you left me, I'm going to show you. And that becomes their chip on their shoulder of, I'm going to make it with or without you, right?
Hmm.
And he was basically saying, those are the two. And that doesn't mean if you've got both of your parents and you have loving parents, you're not going to achieve anything in life. That's not what I'm saying, guys. But what I am saying is, more times than not, you get these instances where you either have the really tough taskmaster or you just don't have anybody that was around. And then you have this created feeling of you have to push, you have to drive, you have to excel, it kind
Hmm.
of propels you to that kind of heights that maybe
Hmm.
someone, and I think he was saying, sometimes kids are just too happy and they become content and they don't want to achieve anything.
Hmm.
I've got two loving parents who kiss me at night, who show me love and affection. I don't need to do nothing. I can just chill and, live my life. Obviously, that's not true. He was just making a joke. But
Right.
do you see what I'm saying in that kind of realm where we need self esteem, but I feel like a little bit of pressure does us good?
So I got a lot to
She's
say
like,
about
nah.
what you and Kev on stage have just said. I do see your point that pressure
I think it's
is
hilarious.
needed, in order to create beautiful things. These cliches again that we've heard of diamond or coal needing pressure to form diamond, and grapes needing to be pressed to cause wine. I get that. But I think you got to step on grapes or whatever the heck nasty thing it is that they do to create
Crushing
grapes.
grapes. Yeah.
Hopefully, it is in a more modernized and sanitized way than before. But you know what? None of my business. That's not any of my business. I
Yeah.
drink wine and I don't think about that. Um,
Yeah.
but I think what Kevon Stage's example lacks is that these people had wonderful mothers or supportive mothers. So I do think
Yeah.
there is a difference between somebody who has no father or a taskmaster, but has the supportive mother role in their life. But there are people like myself who had an absentee father and not a supportive mother. So that those are a different set of
Mhm.
circumstances that will cause a different set of chips and empty
Yeah.
spaces on thy shoulder. So I
Mhm.
get it. I'm not at all offended by his joke because I do think there's a place
Mhm.
for it. But then there are other
Mhm.
isms involved too,
Mhm.
and that's where I come in. And when I said chip on my shoulder, excuse me, I was more talking about the the unpopular opinion. I think I usually come from the unpopular opinion because I hold space in a certain part of the population that is not usually spoken for or about because it's vulnerable and it requires a transparency that the average person may not be comfortable with. So I often present the unpopular opinion, and where self-esteem is concerned, that's where I'm headed with it. Yeah, I hope that explained it.
What would be an example of an unpopular opinion, so that we're
Okay,
on the same page?
all right. So self-esteem for me, per society, right? Or let
Mhm.
me just go down the line. Self-esteem, where you usually get it, good self-esteem, bad self-esteem, anywhere in between. It starts off with your parents. More specific than your family, your parents. Those are the people who teach you from an early age, from inception, of how to think about your own self. How they treat you is how you feel about yourself. So you got your
Mhm.
parents, you got how they treat you, you've got school. That's another source of self esteem, either good or bad. Then you
Mhm.
have either friends, society, community, and
Mhm.
then it gets broader and things get convoluted. So
Mhm.
if you were treated in high esteem in your family,
Yeah.
And there are
Yeah.
all types of nuances in between, I would say, because you
Yeah, I
could
was
be
about to
treated
say.
well but spoiled. So I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Hmm.
well-rounded, well treated, also being disciplined to be a
Hmm.
responsible and caring human being. Because all those things are involved and discipline is necessary. So, say you got that from your family, you now have what
Hmm.
society tells you self esteem,
Hmm.
high self esteem is, which is
Hmm.
for women. I'm a woman, so I'm going to go ahead and speak from that perspective. You've got
Hmm.
the ever pervasive idea that you must be thin. If you ain't
Hmm.
thin, you ain't winning. If
Hmm.
you do not have a career already decided
Hmm.
by the time you're 25, so
Hmm.
you've got that going
Hmm.
on. You've got
Hmm.
what else is society tells you? Uh, that it's necessary to have a close knit family. Like all things in your life got to look happy. Your prospective husband has to also
Hmm.
be chosen, got to be married, children got to be coming soon. So all of those
Hmm.
pressures
Hmm.
are coming
Hmm.
into view as to what it looks like to have a high self-esteem. And my angst and my problem is
Hmm.
I come from a different subset of everything. But before I go into
Yeah.
that, is there something you want to say, Grace?
No, I just wanted you to elaborate so
Oh,
we can
okay.
get to your unpopular opinion. I was just
uh,
listening. I don't know what my face was saying.
okay, yeah, because I knew I was going on a little bit, and we share a podcast, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave
Hmm.
some open space. But yes,
Do what you got to do.
so, huh?
I said, do what you got to do.
Thank you,
Like I'm literally
madam.
listening. Yeah.
So, excuse me. Now, where I'm coming from, my
Yeah.
family chose to focus on, and I'm saying choose loosely, focused on affirming me in a more negative way. So I did
Based on
not
societal expectations.
based on
Based on societal expectations.
I would say based on my expectations or raising a child, like my how my family.
But if they're confirming you negatively, wouldn't that be it's based on what society says, and because you don't fit the mold, that's how they judge you? How does that work?
No, because like I said before, there's a esteem that your family sets within you, and then there's esteem that society expects you to live by.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the
Okay.
family aspect of
Okay.
disciplining you fairly,
Yeah.
treating you with love and a good
Yeah.
amount of affection and compassion, and letting you know
Hmm.
that you are loved and cared for. So, those
Hmm.
aspects of self
Hmm.
esteem, for me, they were affirmed negatively. I did not receive
Hmm.
um, affection when I was younger.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't remember hugging my mother, um, receiving I love yous. I remember getting
Hmm.
infrequent affirmations on my intelligence where home life
Hmm.
was concerned. So I come from
Hmm.
a family that has affirmed me
Hmm.
negatively, right? So now I've got that going on. And
Hmm.
then I've got school. I did get positive reinforcements. I was intelligent and remain to be intelligent.
You mean you
So,
are intelligent? Yeah.
yes. So that's something that I was fairly confident in, but that's not something that started now. So that's what I'm saying was that's something I brought up and firmly in
Hmm.
myself. I know that I'm grounded in my intelligence because that's something that was affirmed highly at school and sometimes at home. So now here, someone like me comes in, and I've got the negative affirmations at home. I've got somewhat positive ones in school, and here comes society. telling me these are all the things that I need. So, how does someone like me
Mhm.
mold myself into having a high self esteem? The reason I'm kind of pissed about this is you've got people then coming in. It really pisses me off when people are like, you're insecure, or you just have low self-esteem. Like, the same society that's telling you you got to have things, these
In order to feel
standards
complete.
in order to feel complete, are also telling others, similar things. So, like, say in the dating world, or like, say friends that you have also absorbed, these are the things that you need. So when people come to me talking about you got low self-esteem, and I'm not saying I got this in, like, say, combative conversations, but it's always bothered me when people want to jump on the bandwagon of, oh, you're just insecure, or this person is insecure, and I'm like looking at the reinforcements that either society, family, or a myriad of places have ingrained in us. And I don't think overall that we're set up for reasonable success where self-esteem
Mhm.
is concerned, like real life
Mhm.
success. So that's where my piss offness comes from. Yeah.
I totally agree with that, with what you said. But what I also want to add as a little caveat to that is that what I've also seen is confidence, too much confidence. Society says you have too much esteem, right?
Mm,
And it's very interesting that Rachel and I were literally talking about Kanye in a completely different context before, right?
yeah.
I'm just bringing up this example of someone showing that he's confident in himself, in his
Right.
talents, well, however you think about him, whatever it is that you think, his
Right.
political stance or whatever, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
Right.
We're just talking about the individual, and constantly being cut down for saying he's confident, or constantly being, broken down to pieces because he's unapologetically himself. You see it both ways, right?
So
And
that's
I
what
get
I
it. Maybe sometimes it's
mean.
rooted in ego.
Hmm.
I don't know, but at the same time, I feel like it's almost like a, what do you call it, two ends of the extreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if you are not meeting the standards of society in terms of having a low self-esteem, you get torn apart. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're highly confident, you still get torn apart. Do you know what I mean? I
Yes,
feel
I
like the bar is
do.
always moved forward where it's like you can't actually access any of that at all, and the whole system is flawed.
Because the bar is not set up in any place that's real. That's my whole
Yeah,
damn point about this.
yeah,
So if you're doing it more than how we're either used to, or the powers that be allows, then you're on the
yeah,
outskirts and you're going to
yeah,
be basically torn down. Either way,
yeah,
it's either if you have
exactly.
low self-esteem, and that has been my problem. So
Hmm.
self-esteem where society is concerned is trash. It's not something we should be listening to, but it is so popular, and people fall into what it is that we see in pop culture. And
Hmm.
that really messes with my mind, because of course there's been a whole onslaught of women who have these body augmentation operations, and for me that is
Hmm.
one of the biggest places where I have seen this, a level of low self-esteem that is shrouded in high self-esteem. Like, that is messing with my mind and
Yeah.
really pissing me off, because
But
you'll see
yeah,
people like,
is
go
being
ahead.
rewarded.
Yes.
What I'm
So you,
saying is like it's
mhm,
those types of behaviors or the things that you're seeing here, whether it be in media or pop culture, that would indicate to a bystander that this is someone who suffers from low self-esteem. The opposite is being said or reported in the media, and these people are put on pedestals saying, these are the people you're supposed to look like. This is the reward. We're going to shower them with more attention. We're going to build them up even more so. even though that there's an underlying problem there about their own feelings about themselves and how they see
Correct.
themselves.
Correct. And where I am, oh, it's upsetting and so sad
Yeah.
for someone,
Yeah.
at least myself. This is not what I grew up
Yeah.
on. So I can
Yeah.
discern, what makes sense and what doesn't to a certain
Mhm.
aspect, because I too fall
Mhm.
into what society has told me. I wouldn't say overall, but
Mhm.
none of us are immune. But for young people coming up, people being born these days, and these types of behaviors are being normalized. So, like,
Yeah.
say for a baby now, in 20 years
Mhm.
body augmentation is just like buying earrings.
It's the
And
norm.
that
Yeah.
and the more you want to change how it is that God made you, that how you were born, um, because you don't like it, especially the reasons why it's done, but that's the farther away you get from any sense of an esteem about yourself that is positive. Because what I think is a good self esteem or high self esteem, however you want to call that, and this may sound counterintuitive, comes with acceptance. It comes with
Yeah.
acceptance of good and bad, not just good. So if you're removing everything that you think is bad, which is also, you're chasing your tail, because you never gonna win. You never ever gonna win, because you find something bad, you could change it, you're gonna do that, then you find something else. Your hold on reality and how you see yourself is forever lost. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I said this was gonna be a
Um,
rant.
I feel like it's more than just, I don't like this about myself. Like you
Hmm.
said, it's about others confirming and affirming
Validation,
things that,
yes.
yeah, that are within you that you shouldn't like about yourself. You are not born saying, I hate my nose, I hate my feet, I hate my skin, I hate
Right,
my weight. You are not born thinking like that about yourself.
right.
Someone has to say, whatever it is that are made of, right? That's the only way I can describe it at this moment
Hmm.
in time.
Hmm.
But someone needs to say that that's ugly, that's not pretty,
I.e., your
that's stupid,
family, school,
i.e.,
friends,
yeah,
society.
and exactly, and that's will be directing. It will be directed towards your weight, your skin, your nose, your height, whatever it
Yep,
is, right?
yep,
Um, and if you hear it enough, this is what I'm trying to say. If you hear it enough,
yep,
that then becomes your truth,
yep.
right? And that's what you hold on to. So if you hear, even if it's like one person say to you, hey, you're gorgeous, five people say to you, hey, I appreciate you so much, I think you're the best person, because you've heard it so many times, no matter how many people tell you, there's nothing that will change your mind in believing that person, that that's who you truly are, because you haven't seen
Hmm.
yourself in that way for a very long time. I find that if
Can
you're
you
not
explain that a little
doing the
more?
work, so if you're not doing the work internally to know yourself and to figure out what's wrong with you or whatever, and you're just living in this perpetuated ideology of, I'm only going to be, let's say if this is to do with looks, I'm only going to be good looking if I am a size 6 for you guys over there. That would be a size 8 for me. But I'm only going to be good looking if I have hair to my backside. I'm only going to be good looking if I have a narrow nose. I'm only going to be good looking if I have fairer skin. All of these different things, right? If you haven't dealt with that internally and you're not trying to figure out why it is that these are the norms that you're gravitating towards and this is what you need, this is what you need to have, right? If someone says to you, hey, stop doing what you're doing, you're beautiful the way you are, if you've been living your life all of this time, do you think you would literally believe that and be like, yes I am, and stop?
Absolutely not. Because it's already
That's what
been
I mean by that.
instilled in you the opposite. All
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. That's what I mean by that. And I feel like that's why a lot of these people, even if they do feel like stopping, if you watch celebrities and people in pop culture and social media, it's very difficult for them to stop. It's very difficult for them to literally just be okay, and take a step back and be like, you know what, I need to work on myself. The working in yourself is
On my
harder than
mental and
working
spiritual self.
on,
Yeah.
yeah, than your physical self.
Yeah.
Is way easier. So I totally understand what you're saying there.
Yeah. Yeah. So the again, I have many big bothers, but the biggest thing for me is the illusion that is being presented. If you told me that self-esteem was a certain set of things and that's what it looked like, everything matched what you're saying, then yes, I have some type of clear understanding of what high self-esteem or low self-esteem, but it's something where I'm getting opposite messages. So accept myself as I am, I'm hearing. But I've been growing up with, thin models on magazines, bruh. Or
But Rachel, you know
yeah.
that beauty standards have been changing from time. So we grew up with the supermodels who have to be a size zero, right? And then in the 50s, it was popular to be curvy, right? It
Right.
was popular to be heavy set, right? And even before that, it was popular to be bigger and plump. I don't want to say evolve, because this is not evolving.
It's
We are
devolving.
constantly changing. Exactly. But we're pushing the yard line, right? We're just pushing it. We're pushing it. We're pushing
No,
it
but I don't
and
mean
changing
I
it.
don't mean
Right.
that it's changing. What I mean is I'm getting a verbal message that's not
Yeah.
matching the visual message. So I
Yeah.
mean, even
Yeah.
right now, okay, accept
Yeah.
myself as I am. However, we are
Yeah.
praising body augmentation. Those are two
Yeah.
separate messages. You're telling me,
But are they from the same people? Are they from
yes,
the
I
same
think so.
people?
Because in
You think?
social
I
media,
think that's a lie.
in social,
I
but
think that's a lie.
I think it is being sent from the same people, but okay, so let me just say this. Here we go. Like say on the news when
Yeah.
you will, like say with the Capitol Hill riots, right? There are some people who are still calling them protesters. The
That's
news
what I'm.
outlets, but they're rioters. Like and these are two separate things, but when it came obviously to Black Lives Matter, that wasn't being called protest overall. So that's what I mean by a double message being sent. We were looking at the same thing and I'm being told two different things. And I think a lot of society and then in turn if we are not aware, we also talk out of two sides of our mouth. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm looking at the same thing. So we've got Nicki Minaj, who I think is beautiful. I love her rap style and all of that. But when it comes to her body, not even just her body. So she's like a badass, right? She's a confident woman. She don't take crap. She don't, but then she has to turn around. She turns around and has body augmentation surgery. That don't make no sense to me. So you're telling me
But
this
I don't
badass
think.
who's this and that, and she's adjusting her body. That's a person who is not truly confident in themselves 100%, because you're still falling to, you want to be accepted and chosen also for how you look.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think that one can truly be confident in every aspect of their life?
That is not what my mandate here is. And I ain't mandating nothing, because who am I to mandate? That's not what my qualm is. My qualm is the acceptance of areas in your life that you just straight up got to struggle with. You got to stand up for.
Yeah.
It's going to be the
Yeah.
thorn in your side. Like you're willing to struggle with that
Oh,
rather
dead.
than give in. rather than give
Yeah.
into what popular society, what culture, what people are telling you to really do. You stand in
Mhm.
my soul, myself is more important than bowing down and feeling like I have to be what others want me to be. So that's my thing, not
Yeah.
being all the way confident. And for me, that's where confidence comes from. Being being willing to be like, nah, I'm all right in this imperfection.
Do you know what's really crazy? I've
Go ahead.
seen so many women in media start off like that. And I feel like the powers that be beat them out of them,
Right.
right? I've seen it with Lizzo. I've seen it with Gabrielle Sidibe.
Wait, what happened with Lizzo?
Um, when I think I can't remember this woman. I think she does a TV show in the States. She does a she's a personal trainer. I think she does one of those reality TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And she was basically saying like how Lizzo needs to lose some weight for her health. And obviously everybody got up in an uproar. She's beautiful the way she is. Leave her alone. Yada
Mm-hmm.
da. This woman says no, it's for health reasons, especially being on stage and whatnot. She needs to lose some weight.
Is she
And
Lizzo's
Lizzo came out.
doctor?
No, she's just a
Oh,
personal trainer, like a reality TV fitness person.
okay.
And then Lizzo came out saying, "Yeah, f you. I don't need to do none of that stuff. I'm happy by myself."
Mm-hmm.
Didn't take long. I don't know how long it was after that. Lizzo was on Instagram constantly filming herself like, I'm on the treadmill. I'm losing weight. All of these different
She didn't say
things.
she was losing
So
weight. I didn't see that. I saw her being, I saw
she was like,
fitness.
she's, yeah, but this is the thing. It was, I need to be healthy. I need to get, this is the same thing what the woman was saying,
But that's different than losing
right?
weight.
How? She said she needs to lose weight for her health.
But did Lizzo say that?
Like Lizzo was like, yeah, I'm literally exercising. I need to get healthy, guys. I need to be serious about my actual weight. I need to be serious about all of these different things.
Okay,
That was
so
on
I
Instagram.
follow Lizzo too, and I haven't seen anything about her saying she needs to lose weight. I have seen a focus on her fitness and her I think she also did like a juice thing. I've seen focus on that and health. I haven't seen a focus on losing weight. And those two things are
So,
different.
so prior to that, so this is the thing. If someone is talking about you, right, losing weight to be healthy, even
Mhm.
the losing weight, you think that's offensive. If that person is doing the same thing, by her being healthy, isn't she going to also lose weight in the process?
No, you don't necessarily, you can work out and do a whole bunch of things and not
I'm
lose
not
weight
talking
and
about
that be
losing
healthy.
pounds or whatever, but it's like still like working towards your weight. That's what I'm
Mm,
saying. You don't
you
think
do not
like it's
have
not
to work
possible,
out towards, you can work out and be healthy and it not be about weight loss.
but you don't think you will lose weight in the process
It may or may not
at all.
happen, but that's not a goal. That's the thing. Like it's different when somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to work out so that I can lose weight. But if I'm doing things so that I can be healthy, healthy and losing weight is not synonymous.
I
We use it
understand that, but I'm saying
synonymously.
in the end, but that's the thing. If you do end up losing the weight, what then? Because if that person said it completely different to you, you just want to get healthy, but you still end up losing the weight, and you both end up, what do you call it? Getting the same result that you were basically talking about, then I don't understand what the problem would be.
I think
Even
there's
if
a
she's saying to,
problem where there's a focus on um okay, so I remember with my dietitian when she told me, because at one point I just wanted to lose weight. That was my only focus. And
yeah,
I was
yeah,
saying to her, you know, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. She told me, look at weight loss as a consequence, not the goal. Where you focus your energy on is going to affect how you take your journey. So if you are looking to just lose weight, something that you really can't control that unless you manipulate it. You can manipulate your body into losing weight. That may not necessarily be, and most times it isn't, the healthiest thing for your body. So that's where the problem comes in. If you're focusing on being healthy, that means you're giving your body everything it needs to run and be strong. And if you lose weight as a consequence to that, great. But if you're just losing weight, that means you're manipulating your body and you're not giving your body everything that it needs. So that's the difference.
But this is what I'm talking about, the consequences of that. When you do lose the weight, right? If you are doing it healthy, however way you're planning to do it, when you do lose the weight, that's still the consequences of all of that stuff. So what she's saying is, hey, I want you to be healthy and I want you to lose weight. Even if your plan wasn't to lose weight, your plan was to be healthy. The consequences of that, you losing weight, what then? Because you've just received the same results. That's
But
what I'm
that's
trying to say.
it's a different focus, and I think it makes the biggest difference, because what society has done these days, and I've fallen into this cycle of losing weight. What I did was become bulimic, because the
Mm-hmm,
focus was losing weight, not me being healthy, whatever that would mean
mm-hmm,
for me. Whatever,
mm-hmm,
if it's meals, if it's vegetables, or we've got like the keto diets where you're focused on eating
mm-hmm,
more fat and less carbs. Your body needs carbs, so things like that is it's those are not focuses on being healthy. Those focuses are on losing weight. So it is important to me where you focus your energy of getting to the
mm-hmm,
goal. Because if, like, say you're
mm-hmm,
in a career, you want to be
mm-hmm,
CEO, how are you going to get there?
mm-hmm,
Are you going to get there by stepping
mm-hmm,
on people, blah, 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 blah? Or are you going to get there in a
mm-hmm,
more moral way? So yes, there is a
mm-hmm.
goal, but how you go about it is important to me. And that's what I have seen,
Okay.
where the problem is. Like, if she winds
Mm-hmm,
up losing weight, okay, but I haven't seen a focus on her weight loss. I have seen a focus on her health, and to me,
mm-hmm,
that's positive. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So your face, Grace. I'm ranting. I'm going
Right.
on and on. I'm going on and on. I'm on high with this
um,
particular
I
subject.
lost my train of thought because I wanted to talk about I think it was Gabrielle Sidibe and Lizzo, because that I can confirm Gabrielle Sidibe has lost weight. So
Yes, she has.
what I'm trying to say is one of those things where I believe and I've seen that as much as you can stand firm, there's always going to be powers that be it out of you, or you lose the position that you once held because you won't conform,
Right.
right? And this is the point that I had at the beginning of all of this is as much as we can say stand firm in your convictions or whatever, not everybody has the capacity to hold on to their integrity in those moments. And that doesn't actually, I'm going to take away the word integrity, because just because you've decided to go along with all of this, it doesn't mean that you're not an integral person. No, that's not true. But I find it that it's very difficult for people to navigate through these spaces, I think, especially in such a high level of success, fame, and power. But for us living day to day, um, everybody struggles different, and how they go about it is different, how they deal with it is different. You and me were different people. The way I will deal with one situation is completely different to how you will deal with it. Something you can handle, probably I won't be able to handle. Something I can handle, maybe you won't be able to handle. So it basically just depends on the individual. And I totally get where your angst is coming from. But at the same time, it's very difficult to speak for people as individuals at the same time.
I 100% agree with you. We definitely, everybody is different. And like I said before, no one, you ain't escaping society without some type of scars, my G. You ain't escaping your family with some type of scars. It will
Mhm,
affect, things will affect us, some
mhm,
positively, others negatively.
mm, mm,
My very big, I guess, the ask The ask
Mhm.
and what is demanded of you, or a question you have to ask yourself, is
Mhm.
how much are you willing to pay
Mhm.
for what it is that you're giving up, because you're giving up something.
Mhm.
So if
Mhm.
you want to stay in that position, you're giving up, say, over your body or whatever. Or it's
Mhm.
like, you know what? This is not, fame is not important enough for me to give this part of myself up. Now, I have not yet been famous, and that's not particularly something I am asking for. But I have been in positions in my life where I had to
Mhm.
ask myself that question of, what am I willing to give up or to keep in order to keep this charade going, right? I've done that where family members are concerned. I've done that where relationships are concerned that I had to leave. I've done that where jobs are concerned and I had to leave. What
Mhm.
was I willing to give up? Was I losing my soul? Was this worth it? And that's the question that I think some of us are, depending on your groundedness, on
Mhm.
your grounding, is
Mhm.
easy or more difficult for you to answer within yourself. Because you could want
Mhm.
the fame so much or whatever position so much that you're willing to sacrifice in things that are important to
Mhm.
you. Or you
Mhm.
take a step back and kind of find another route to getting either the
Another
thing you
avenue. Yeah.
desire or it looking differently. Maybe you won't have, and this is really shallow, maybe you won't have 20 million followers, you'll have 5, something like that.
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
so yeah, and that comes with our views, expressing our views, being our authentic selves. If if it if you're wanting for others to validate you, you're going to sacrifice a whole lot than you can pay for, basically.
Um, let's talk about like how to deal with low self-esteem. Let's talk about that because when you were saying chip on your shoulder, to me that means something completely different than what you were
Mm.
saying.
I think
Chip
I
on your
said it
shoulder,
wrong.
yeah, because chip on the shoulder was what I was explaining about, like needing to prove yourself in certain areas or whatever. I
Hmm.
don't think that's necessarily connected to having a low self-esteem, whether it be about your physical appearance, whether it be about your identity, whether it be in your positioning or financial circumstances, right? That's a completely different thing. So I'm glad that we've actually separated the two. But once we do realize that we have these things that has caused us to feel a certain way about ourselves, whether it be family members, whether it be our circumstances, whether it be certain events that's happened in our lives, right?
Hmm.
That cause us to feel less than. Because
Hmm.
essentially, not struggling with self esteem is really about feeling less than,
Correct.
and constantly battling with that
Yes.
and trying to overcome that daily
Yes.
to be able to say to yourself, not just to say, but truly try to believe it as much as you can on a
Hmm.
daily basis that I am enough.
Hmm.
I am good enough. Um, how do we deal with that?
All right.
What are things? Because obviously, I don't want to say tips and tricks because that sounds so, that's belittling it. But like how, tips and tricks on how to deal with self-esteem. But how to really speak to yourself, how to think about yourself, how to truly see yourself, even though society is saying constantly, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash.
Basically, that's what you get in all around. The reason I said all right in such a satisfying way, for me on this podcast, what has been a focus is a how. You can hear in society or on Instagram or on TV, you get constantly bombarded with what a problem is most of the time. And when you're looking for answers on how to fix the damn thing, it's like nobody's around to give you an answer. So,
No, they just have another product to sell you in order to feed into that insecurity even more so.
yes, hello, hello, preach on it. So, this has been a bother for me since I was a kid, to be honest. It's even, I think I saw it in the biggest way in like televangelists, which is like shocking. And I think that's why it used to piss me off the most, because
Elaborate on
I'm
that,
looking,
please.
okay, so watching
Televangelist.
televangelists, right? There
Mm-hmm.
is I don't necessarily, from like say the news or a talk show, look for answers. I don't know about other people, but when I'm listening
No,
to a
neither do I.
preacher, when I'm listening to a preacher, talk about a certain issue, I'm waiting for the answer. I'm
Absolutely.
specifically waiting for it, because I'm like, oh, you identified it. I'm here to heal my soul, my spirit, waiting for the answer. And this and this is why I only listen to certain preachers.
There's, I'm telling you, there's no other way. That's the
Yeah.
only way. You can't have a million voices in your head and they're all saying completely different things. No, sir.
Especially if you're not telling me a how to, son. You can't just be focusing on the
Mm-hmm.
problem and you're not
Mm-hmm.
giving me at least a
Give me
guidance
a
as to
resolution.
where I can find the
Mm-hmm.
resolution, dear Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is why I focus so much, and we focus so much on when we have our topics. We also, there is also some tips and guidances as to how you can practically make this better. So, yes, I have some tips for someone like me. I will be sharing my experience of how I have gotten out of this hole, you know? So for me, I'm kind of happy that there wasn't a focus on TV when I was younger. Like, I was kind of barred from watching TV. And as annoying as it was at the time, because of how the message was I was being given, I didn't realize I was being blocked from, I would have probably been more screwed up from what society is telling me by
Mm-hmm.
watching media so much. So my first
Mm-hmm.
um advice, or the first acknowledgement that I would make in this area of bettering your self-esteem, is you got to be discerning as to what you watch and what you listen
Mm-hmm.
to, the people you are
Mm-hmm.
around. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
discerning where that's concerned, because whatever you absorb in your environment, if it's toxic or triggering, um, it will seep into you. So, what you watch on TV,
What about,
go ahead, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
please go ahead.
No,
What about the situation, what you were saying? It's your family members. And this is deep rooted based on how you grew up. So it's not an external thing
ooh,
like a television. It's
yeah,
about how they've spoken to you, like you touched upon before.
yeah,
Hey, I have either a mother, a brother, a father, whoever, right? Who spoke down to me, who said that I wasn't good enough, who did this to me, who treated me badly, all of these different things. You can leave that house, but you will carry that trauma with you, right?
preach on it, preach
And
on
on a
it.
day-to-day basis, you are constantly hearing their voices in your head
Mm-hmm,
saying these things to you.
mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that? That doesn't mean you have to have the answers, Rachel. That's not what I'm trying to do, put you on the spot. But
Now I have
if you can
experiences.
share some light, yeah. And as for me and my own, um, there's things that we struggle with constantly. And what I'm saying, guys, I'm not saying like you have to have the answers. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying like you have to be able to deal with it and everything's going to be okay. No, things take time and everything is a process. But for people who are struggling in that way, where it's like their identity is tied to something or what someone has said, how do you loosen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, this has been a lifelong struggle for me.
For
And
sure.
as a result, what happened, because I was trying to stuff down the pain and numb myself, I've spoken
Mm-hmm.
to in snippets and will openly continue to do so about my own battles with addiction, specifically food, specifically relationship addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I was ready to step away from those behaviors that I
Mm-hmm.
recognized how deeply entrenched I was in these negative thoughts about myself. It's always something that I knew was around, but because I had numbing agents, such as food, such as relationships, such as busyness, I didn't
Yeah.
need to focus on
Mm-hmm.
what was at the very bottom that I was trying to avoid. So once I stopped being bulimic, all these feelings, these negative thoughts, and I'm looking at it now, like, where did these come from? I never used to feel like this. I always felt like this. I just never allowed it to come up. So for me, what has been the answer was being able to get into 12-step programs. These things
Mm-hmm.
have saved my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Therapy also. These were the first steps for me into facing what truly was in my mind, because it's just so
Yeah.
easy for us to distract and pick up numbing agents. So
Mm-hmm.
my biggest answer to that is a 12-step program, like something
Yeah.
that you're going to be doing consistently, that's going to help to, I don't know if the word is eradicate, but it's going to help to bring these feelings to the surface, because these are issues that you've had for years, that I'm going to say for me, that I've had for years, that I'd become an expert at pushing away
Mm-hmm.
and suppressing. So
Mm.
that, and I will put that in conjunction with, what is the thing that I want to say? Oh, please, please, we need to have a Jesus, a Buddha, Allah, Mother Nature, the source. You got to have one of those in your life. And for me, I ain't making it without God, because it allows God, that higher power allows me to have some type of inclination that what I'm searching for, what I need, the healing that I need, is not exactly what I think is going to look. It's not like what I think it's going to look like. Because when
Mm-hmm.
me being in a life before I had any type of higher power,
Mm-hmm.
everything had to look like how I thought it looked. And my view
Mm-hmm.
of things are limited. I am a human being. So I was
Mm-hmm.
constantly running around in circles and not getting
Mm-hmm.
answers or living a higher or better life. So, what
Mm-hmm.
any one of these sources, I don't care what it is, but what
Mm-hmm.
God allowed me to do is lean not only on my own understanding. And
Yeah.
I guess simply said, what if? I got what if with God? What if I
Mm-hmm.
can be happy for real? What if happy
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like what I think it looks like? What if I
Mm-hmm.
got a whole lot of what ifs? And with that, along
Mm-hmm.
with other things I've done in my life, I've seen myself, my esteem, my life elevate. I'm gonna get off my
Mm-hmm.
soapbox and go ahead, Grace. Please say something, because I'm just going on and on.
No, I agree with everything that you said. I really have. I really have. I really do. Um, what I would add to that is find someone who is objective, who you can speak to,
Mm,
who won't have biased thoughts or ideas and present
Judgments.
them these thoughts exactly so that they can be able to poke the holes in your flawed logic.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that when you're thinking like this about yourself, there's nothing logical about it
Mm-hmm.
at all. A
Preach.
lot of the times when we think like this, we then start to consult ourselves. And there's nothing worse than in that moment, a crazy person talking to another crazy person.
Snap,
You
snap,
are not
snap.
going to find the answers talking to yourself, because all you're going to do is confirm everything that you believe about yourself that isn't true,
That's a
because you are
word.
talking to yourself.
This is a word.
So, what I would say for sure, talk to someone on the outside who you trust, by the way. This is not just a random stranger, guys.
Nah,
Who
son.
you trust, who can be objective, who can be objective and say, this is wrong, 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 and I'll tell you why. Because they know you, because they know your life, and they know what is true and what isn't true. And I think a lot of the times as well, as much as we say, oh, my thoughts or whatever, all of this is falsehoods. That's the one thing we never say. You
Mm.
know, we always say, oh, my thought, I was thinking, oh, I felt. Well, these are falsehoods, right? Completely. There's nothing true about any of these things.
Yeah.
These are all lies that we have swallowed and
Right.
have allowed to become our truth when it's not true. They're completely
Preach.
falsehoods. So that's what I would say, in addition to, I totally agree with Rachel. God is number one. Like, for me, with all of the stuff that I've been through and the things that I've seen, prayer has been like my anchor. Um, and talking out about it. Because sometimes, and I think me and Rachel even do this, there's times where I speak things out loud and I see how ridiculous they sound as soon as they come out of my mouth. But in
Hmm.
my head, it's also real. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, you keep it because you're mulling over things and feeding the madness, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this, and I didn't do this, and I feel like this, and you're just feeding it, you're feeding it, you're feeding it, because you're giving it time, you're giving it weight, you're giving it attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I talk to someone about it, sometimes they don't even need to say anything. I
Right.
just open up my mouth and I start speaking, and I realize this is the dumbest thing I've ever said, or this is insane, or how is it even possible? Um, it doesn't always work like that, but in those moments, you have that realization of, I've been hoodwinked. I've been lied to. Like, this is
Right.
madness. I really need to stop, and I need to take a step back and to look at myself and see, why is it that I've allowed myself to get myself into this place. So yeah, that's what I would add to that for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real
Don't talk
good,
to yourself,
yo.
guys.
Yeah. Talk to yourself and only get solutions from you. Nah, son. Um,
Nah, it's not happening.
that's a really good point. So what I would say in conclusion is that none of us can escape fully unscarred and
Mhm.
unharmed by what messages we receive in society. If
And
you
what's put on
think
us.
that, because I used to think that
Mhm.
too, like, nah, I'm not being affected. Like, ads don't affect me. Nah, you're affected in some way, shape, or form. So that, accept that you are affected. But by challenging your thoughts, having others to challenge those as well. Also, by having a higher power
Mhm.
and which will help you have a deeper knowledge of who it is that you are and meant to be. You got to have those and programs, that will
Yeah,
help
external
you
tools for
to
sure.
change your operating system that you've been working on, help you to change those neurotransmitters and thoughts about yourself, knowing that this will take time. And with that, your esteem of yourself will be lifted um in whatever time, but it definitely takes the work. It ain't just gonna happen. So with that,
Mhm.
I am complete. I don't know if you got anything else to add, Grace. Sorry
I
about
don't
my
think I
ranting,
did.
folks. This joint pisses me off. It really does.
I don't I don't think we do. I think the only caveat I would say, obviously, I think most people know this, self-esteem is rooted in so many different things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times it's not just external, it's really internal things and mental struggles and emotional struggles and all of these different things. So I have faith that when we do put in the work, we will see progress and things will change little by little.
Little by little, we change.
Mm,
Yes.
for sure.
So,
Yeah.
amen and selah to that. I have been Rachel. My accent
And
now. What
I've
kind of
been
accent is
Grace.
that? Yeah.
I have no idea. You
Please
tell me.
comment. Give us your feedback, your take.
Hmm.
On Instagram, we're on YouTube, we on Spotify, we on Anchor. I'm missing something. We on iTunes.
Apple. Apple,
Yes.
yeah, that's it.
As
I'm like, I
Soul
don't know.
Speak.
Apple.
Soul Speak, the podcast with Rachel and Grace, with Grace and Rachel. Also, our
Yo.
Instagram is the Soul Speak podcast on Instagram. I always flubber that, not sure why. Also, you can find me, Rachel, the sassy Rachel, on Instagram.
Sassy, sassy, sassy.
I am writing a memoir right now, guys. One of my biggest dreams coming true.
As we speak, she's
As
literally
we
doing it.
quite literally speak, yes. I am also working on, and this has changed over the course of months, but a curriculum for young adults who have experienced trauma in the childhood because the system's trying to pay it forward. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
those are the things that I'm working on. That's me. You, Grace?
You can be able to find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at the underscore reading underscore hideout. I do kidlit, children's picture books, storytelling, all of that good stuff over there. And also you can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Grace underscore Kugrena. And yeah, just writing. I think that's what we're both doing. New picture books, new middle grade, all of these different things coming soon. So absolutely excited about that. But just keep watch, guys, and like Rachel said, like, comment, share, tell your friends, your sisters, your brothers, your husbands, all of that stuff. Tell them about us.
Yes. Excited for that. Excited to have spoken to you guys. Pray that you have been nourished as we have, and talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.